In today's video, I have a fragrance haul to share with all of you guys. There are 5 fragrances in this video. Hauls are actually my favorite, or definitely one of my favorite videos to make, but also to watch on YouTube. I'm always intrigued by what other people are buying. So I've got 5 fragrances. There's some discontinued ones in here, some vintage fragrances, some classics that are still available. So stay tuned to find out which fragrances I've picked up. Hey, what's going on, guys? Raj here. I hope all of you are doing well. So, welcome to the channel if you're a new subscriber. Welcome back if you are an existing one. As you can see, if you have seen my most recent videos, I'm back here in London, back in my place. The lockdown here in the UK is starting to, or like slowly but surely coming to an end. We still have a couple of months. Hopefully no more lockdowns. I can't take another lockdown. I don't think anyone in this country can. So yeah, whatever the situation is where you are in the world, I hope you're all good and well. So the fragrances that I will mention in this video are mentioned down below in the description box. If you're interested in previous haul videos that I've done, I have set up a playlist where they're all there. I'll leave a link down below in the description. So yeah, let's get into it with the first fragrance. Okay, so coming out of the house of Dior, this one is a classic. It came out in 1988. It's a fragrance I've actually never owned in the original form, and this one is Fahrenheit. This is unmistakable in its scent DNA. I love the bottle of this. I love the fact that you've got this dark blackness that slowly fades into a ambery, orangey, reddish glow. This is a beautiful fragrance, but I didn't always think that way. So this is the box, by the way, if you wanted to just show the box. Nothing sort of too fancy going on here. This is the modern version, so this is actually a 2020 bottle. You can check the bottom for batch codes and also the bottom of the box as well, in case you guys didn't know. So my experience with Fahrenheit has been in the form of its flankers. Aqua Fahrenheit I had, Absolute I had, Le Parfum, which is still around. I had really enjoyed that one. I think that one and the Cologne version are the only 2 flankers that are currently in production at the moment. But for some reason, I always found this kind of petrol gasoline vibe to be a little bit strange for me, if I'm honest. I never really felt like buying this, or the original, until recently, when I had the opportunity to smell vintage Fahrenheit. I will be doing a comparison video. I have a tiny little sample, an official kind of actual sample from Dior. That was when I bought all these miniatures of these vintage minis. The person who I bought them from eBay threw in a bunch of samples, and one of them was vintage Fahrenheit. And that really opened up my eyes. And even though I kind of knew that the vintage was not going to be anywhere near to the modern version, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the original. It's almost disrespectful not to own it as a fragrance enthusiast. So what does the modern day version give you? It still gives you something really interesting, very distinct, potentially a little bit polarizing. I feel like there is a freshness in here as well, or kind of like a green, minty, leafy accord, potentially coming from the violet, mixed in maybe with some other ingredients. It's leathery, it's smoky, it's more of a smoky green type fragrance. Really nice, really well made. I've been wearing this. I've put a little bit of a dent in this one. I'm looking forward to wearing it more in the spring weather. And yeah, it's good to have this fragrance in my collection. I have to say I do enjoy this one. It is quite a bold scent. It smells like... It smells kind of slightly leathery, but not as leathery as the vintage, and I will go into that in that separate video. But more smoky, more campfirey, but not too bold. It's actually quite a balanced fragrance. I'm still getting my head around it. You know, I have worn Fahrenheit before. I've sprayed it on paper. I've sprayed it a couple of times on my skin just to, you know, figure out what it was all about quite a few years ago. But yeah, never bought this one. You know, the perfumer behind this one, or the two perfumers credited with this one, are Michel Almirac and also Jean-Louis Souzac, who interestingly made Bel Ami by Hermès, which came out in, let me just double check, it came out in 1986, so a couple of years before. Now, the reason I mention that is because when I tried the vintage version of Fahrenheit, the leather note was very strong, and Bel Ami is known for having a noticeable leather note as well. So interesting that the perfumer behind Bel Ami was involved with Fahrenheit 2 years later. So yeah, fun fact. Okay, going on to the second fragrance. Okay, so going on to the second fragrance. This fragrance, like Fahrenheit, is still available. So they are classic fragrances, but you can still buy them. And this is, I mean, first of all, the bottle is kind of hilarious, but also kind of impressive. This is from Bijan, and this one is simply called Men, or maybe just Bijan for Men. Let's see if we can do a little close-up here. Basically, a donut with a giant golf ball. Kind of looks like a giant golf ball on top. It's the most bizarre fragrance like design I've ever seen, but I actually kind of like it. I do kind of like it. So this is the box, by the way. So this is not like a vintage version. I just bought this from the website allbeauty.com, and I haven't checked the batch code, but I imagine it's been made recently. So the reason I decided to get this one is, first of all, it's dirt cheap. It smells fantastic also. And a fellow UK reviewer, Carl from the channel UK Frag Guy, he recently sent me a bunch of samples, and I need to do a video on that, actually talking about those fragrances. He sent me some really interesting stuff, and this was one of them. So Carl, if you're watching, thanks a lot, man. I posted out your samples today, so yeah, I hope you get them soon and enjoy them. I had to get this one straight away. So what does this one smell like? Well, it does actually remind me of a fragrance that a lot of you guys may not know, a lot of people in the world may not know. It's from the company The Crown Perfumery. It's actually a fragrance that my dad has. It's an old British house that was bought by Clive Christian, and they have a fragrance called Sandringham, and I kind of feel like this has similarities to that. It's very rich, spicy, has an orange opening to it, a little bit juicy, but it's got a lot of like dry, almost patchouli-like. It smells like green smoked leaves with citrus, and has a bit some spicy elements to this. Very woody. It's a very classic men's fragrance. It doesn't smell like anything that would come out nowadays, but it has a kind of boardroom, like a CEO kind of vibe. That kind of is the feeling I get with this fragrance. Bijan for Men came out in 1987, so if you're looking for something with a nostalgic feel at a really affordable price, this is definitely worth looking into. I mean, it's potentially even just worth it just for the bottle shape alone. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's great, or do you think it's just really like bizarre? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Have you tried this one? Okay, so those of you who are into rare, hard to find, discontinued fragrances, this is the part of the video that is for you. The first fragrance from the house of YSL, Yves Saint Laurent, and this one is, well, looking at the bottle, a lot of you will be able to tell that it is Rive Gauche, but those of you who really know your fragrances will know that this isn't actually the original. And to be honest, look, I didn't even know this fragrance existed, to be honest. This is actually the intense version, and I'll do a little close-up. You should be able to see down at the bottom there, it says, if this damn thing focuses, Eau de Toilette. Oh, we got there in the end. Thank you very much, camera. Eau de Toilette Intense. There are actually, at closer look, there are some subtle differences actually in the bottle design. So anyway, Rive Gauche, you know, I used to have this version in the aluminium tin can version. This is actually plastic, which is kind of disappointing, but anyway. So this is, you know, opens up as follows. You can actually take this out. So I bought a partially used bottle. I was kind of like going back and forth. I was looking for the original actually, then I saw this one and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take the risk, and boy did it pay off, because this is a beauty of a fragrance. Rive Gauche is known for being very much a kind of like a barbershop, like shaving foam, green minty fragrance, and the intense version gives you that. As I said, I used to own this fragrance in the tin can version, or the original. I'm pretty sure, but not 100% sure, that I had it in the square cube shaped bottles. Unfortunately, none of those are available anymore. And so when I got this one, yeah, it reminded me of Rive Gauche. No doubt it has the DNA of Rive Gauche, but I felt like that the shaving foam element, that soapy freshness, that kind of like uber clean freshness was dialed down a little bit. I got a bit more of a mossy, spicy feel with this one. And if I had the original, it would be ideal to compare them side by side, but this one smells so good. The intense version also came out in 2003. On Fragrantica, it doesn't say who the perfumer is, but I imagine it's Jacques Cavalier. And this one is, it's sweet. It is like a herbal, lavender, minty green chewing gum, something along those lines, and just works really well. It's one of those perfect out the shower type fragrances. If you're looking to smell clean and professional, this would be a great fragrance. Obviously it's not around, and I think fragrances like At the Barbers by Maison Martin Margiela, or I think it's just called Margiela now, or Maison Margiela, that's a nice alternative. I think Tom Ford's Beau de Jour would also be a nice alternative. Invasion Barbare by Parfum MDCI. Especially as this one got into the dry down, it really reminded me of Invasion Barbare. Those are all three fragrances that came to mind when thinking about this fragrance. So if you're not able to get this one, maybe check those other ones out. On to the next one, and Carl sent me a fragrance, a sample of Cerruti's 1881, and I really liked that one. It had similarities to Estee Lauder for men. And I was thinking, yeah, I could add 1881 to my collection. I really enjoyed it. I was having a look online, seeing what was out there, and then came across this fragrance on eBay and decided to take a chance. It was a blind buy. This isn't the original 1881. This is actually the intense version. Let's see if we can do a little close up here. You might be able to make it out. Down the side it says Cerruti 1881. Intense. I really like the bottle design. It's got this kind of frosted glass stone effect on the bottle. It's great. It looks really cool. This is the box. Nothing exciting. It's a green box, basically. The fragrance came out in 2008, and when I first smelled this one, so it was a blind buy, as I said. I think I said. Normally, I don't like blind buying. I don't like that kind of risk. Yeah, you could sell them off again, but like the ball ache of selling things on eBay, or I could have just given it away. But anyway, it worked out well. I do like it. It's not a spectacular fragrance, it's not like a mind-blowing scent, but it's really nice, really well put together. Has similarities to me to Zaharoff, the original, a signature, I think it's called. Powdery sweet, touch of patchouli. It has this piney feel, but not too much on the foresty evergreen side of things. It has a sweet powdery feel which balances out those kind of greener notes. Actually, a really well put together, well made fragrance. Has a hint of the original, but I think it's very much its own fragrance. There were times where I thought, oh yeah, I pick up on the original 1881, but very much its own scent. So if you can get your hands on this one, check it out, maybe blind buy it, or if you have this one, let me know. What do you think, and what do you think about Cerruti fragrances? The next fragrance is a repurchase, kind of. So what I mean by that is I used to own this fragrance back in, I've mentioned it on, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it on my channel before, like maybe in like 2014 or something like that. This is from Cleef Arpels, and this fragrance is Tsar. So I owned it back then, but not this version. This is actually a very vintage bottle. I might need your help, those of you who are like really into vintage fragrances, to kind of date this one. Let me do a close-up first. So this is definitely a different bottle compared to the one that I used to have. I've seen different designs for Tsar online, and it was a bit difficult trying to date this one. There is a batch code at the bottom here, but the thing is, I checked it on a couple of different websites, and batch codes repeat themselves every like 10 years or, you know, after a certain period of time. So I was having a look online, trying to figure out when this was from. I think this is from the 90s, this particular bottle. This fragrance actually was released in 1989. So yeah, late 90s maybe. I don't really know. If you guys know, let me know. But this is a beautiful fragrance. In my last haul video, I bought a bottle of Midnight in Paris, which is discontinued, and this one is now discontinued. I'm not really sure what's going on at Cleef Arpels, but they're probably just focusing on their higher end line. I don't even know what the name of it is, or I've forgotten the name. Beautiful fragrance, green, very, very green fragrance. Yeah, this has a lot of strength to it. This fragrance still has a good kick to it. It is herbal, minty, mossy. I think this has real oak moss in it. It definitely feels like real oak moss. It's very full-bodied, a very classic men's fragrance, or very in line with a lot of fragrances that came out during this time period. Let's actually have a look at some of the notes. Green notes: lavender, artemisia, rosemary, coriander, pine trees, juniper berry. There's a lot. I'm not going to list everything, but oak moss, tonka bean, amber. For me, it kind of has a sweet grassy feel with a minty, sweet lavender feel. In some ways, it has a touch of Rive Gauche in there, and it has a foresty feel as well. Really beautiful. I have to say, this is quite I'm really happy to have this fragrance in my collection. Actually, I got lucky with this one on eBay, if I'm honest with you guys. So that's my haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances, if you own them, or if they interest you. Thanks for watching. If you didn't know, I have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to contribute to what I do, 20% of the proceeds go to Cancer Research UK, so that's a good cause. And if you like this type of content, hit the like button and check out some of my other videos if you haven't done so already. Yeah, thanks so much for your support. I'll see you on the next video, everyone. Take care. Bye.